Hey, what's up guys? Jake the Asshole here. I wanted to make a follow-up video about the blue lights that were seen above New York City, and I would have made this video sooner, but I have been battling a cold, and as you can probably hear in my voice right now, my throat is pretty scratchy, so forgive me please. I apologize ahead of time. My voice is gonna sound like shit in this video. But anyway, let's get to it. Now, I literally received thousands of comments on my last video, and a lot of you guys agreed with me that you thought that these blue lights resulting from a simple transformer explosion, and for the duration that the blue lights lasted and the amount of space in the sky that the blue lights covered, I thought it seemed strange and that the official story did not add up, and a lot of you agreed with me in the comments. However, there were hundreds of people who called me names, called me a moron, an idiot, a retard, amongst other things, and they would tell me that they have seen electric explosions before and that it looks exactly like this. That blue light is common, and there was swamp gas in the air, and all electric fires and all electric explosions put off this blue light, and because there was swamp gas in the air, it lit up a bigger part of the sky than normal, like a freakishly huge portion of the sky because of swamp gas and the blue light illuminating from the electric explosion. So a lot of people told me this is a common occurrence and they've seen it over and over again, and it's nothing new. So what I tried to do was find videos of an electric explosion or a transformer explosion, what have you, lighting up an entire skyline like it did with the city of New York. I could not find a video of an entire city, like a huge city, being lit up the same way New York was. I did find videos of electricity putting off blue light, yes, but nothing quite like the duration of the New York City blue lights and the intensity which caused the entire city skyline to be lit up. Now, a lot of the people who made fun of me and called me names and insulted me, they were also kind enough to link videos of other electrical fires and other electrical explosions to show me that it was indeed a common occurrence and that things like this happen all the time and it's nothing out of the ordinary. However, when I watched the videos, I was shocked to see none of their examples quite matched the one in New York City. And now we will go ahead and watch a side-by-side comparison of the electrical explosions that were sent to me so I can show you guys exactly how they don't quite match up. Let's go!
Вот провод ведь я видите ага куда-то. Да всё пал.
And again, I want to reiterate that these clips were sent to me by people making fun of me, telling me this is exactly how electric explosions look. So in a side-by-side comparison, I see an orange quick burst, not quite the same as the one in New York City. So next. In a side-by-side comparison, the transformer on the right is not putting out nearly as much light as the one on the left, and it also explodes into a white light, also flame and orange sparks. Not the same as the one in New York City. Next. And in this side-by-side comparison, we can clearly see the transformer on the right is bursting with what looks like an orange firelight color. Definitely not blue. And then it explodes into a bright white light. Definitely not the same as the one in New York. Next. Now some of you may be saying, hey Jake, those are just telephone pole transformer explosions. Why don't you show us what it looks like down at the power plant when there's an explosion? Okay. And the side-by-side comparison. Yep, that definitely appears to be a fiery red explosion on the right, which also leaves behind fire and damage, which doesn't look anything like the New York City blue lights. So, next. Now, of all the video clips that were sent to me, this one was my absolute favorite. And the reason why? Well, clearly, this explosion happening on the right is at an electrical facility of some kind. It appears to be a rather large electrical plant, if you ask me. And the explosion looks to be fiery red and orange and not blue whatsoever. In fact, I don't even see a little bit of blue. No pulsating blue whatsoever. I see the color of bright red, orange fire, and then a big black smoke mushroom cloud coming out, and then I see fire and damage left over on the ground, indicative of what an explosion would look like. So for all of you who are insulting me, calling me names, and telling me I've never seen an electrical explosion in my life and I have no idea what I'm talking about, well, now all of you can kiss my ass. Now, a bunch of people in the comments section told me to check out Richie from Boston's channel, that he had a video supposedly proving that direct energy weapons were used to attack New York City. However, when I watched the video on his channel, I quickly found out that it wasn't even video from New York City. It was actually video from Kenner, Louisiana. And the video is of transformers exploding indeed. However, you can't exactly say it's proof that there were direct energy weapons used. Let's go ahead and watch the video.
That's crazy!
Now, I watch Richie from Boston's channel from time to time, and while I do agree with him that the mainstream media's story about the New York City blue lights, it doesn't seem to add up. I do have to disagree with him about the way he titled his video and with the claims he makes in his video. He titles his video, "Blue Beams Caught on Film Take Out Power Lines in New York City." Well, first off, the footage is not from New York City, Richie. It's from Kenner, Louisiana. And second off, the blue beams that you say are caught on tape, they appear to be a lens flare. When there are bright lights that flash on camera, oftentimes they produce this lens flare, which has strips of light that'll emanate from the light source going to the top of the screen and the bottom of the screen. And you can see many examples of this being a lens flare rather than evidence of a direct energy weapon being used. So in Richie's video, he claims that this is footage of laser beams and or direct energy weapons being shot down from above and taking down these power lines, when in actuality it's nothing more than a lens flare, and the video is not in New York City. So the two aren't connected as far as location. However, this video does raise some concerns, and I do find it to be compelling evidence of something that's not quite right, because this happened on the same night as the New York City blue lights. And I also found reports of similar activity happening all around not only the United States, but I'm also hearing from people in the comments section all around the world that they saw similar things in the sky that same night or within the same 24-hour period. But before I move on, I want to make extra sure that there's no one left believing that this is footage of a direct energy weapon being used. Richie from Boston said in his video, "This is the finger of God weapon. You can see right here, this is blue beams coming out of the sky." No, it's actually a lens flare, and I'm going to go ahead and prove it beyond a shadow of a doubt right now. So yeah, let's do that. So the easiest way you can tell that this is a lens flare and not a blue beam or direct energy weapon coming out of the sky is that it's in front of the Shell station sign. See how it's in front of the sign up there? But then the actual transformer exploding is behind the entire gas station? It's because it's a lens flare. And another easy way you can tell it's just a lens flare is it goes all the way from the top of the screen to the bottom. If that was a laser beam hitting the wires, then it wouldn't continue going all the way through the bottom of the screen like that. So, yeah, we can't exactly say this is laser beams caught on tape in New York City, can we, Richie? So not only was there an electrical event in New York City, there was also that electrical event that happened there in Kenner, Louisiana. Also, within the same 24-hour period, I found in Jamestown, North Dakota, they also had an electrical occurrence, we'll call it, and it looked very similar to the one in New York City. However, this one had flashes of orange as well. And also within the same 24-hour period, here's a report out of the Bay Area here in California that a PG&E employee was hospitalized by an exploding transformer. Now, the thing I find most weird about the electrical event that happened in New York City is, of course, the intensity in which it lights up the entire New York City skyline. That, to me, must take an incredible amount of energy or something, and I have not seen any footage that I could find which matches the level of intensity that this electrical event produced. Now, I'll also say the duration of how long this electrical occurrence, electrical event, whatever you want to call it, how long that it lasted also seemed peculiar to me. So those were the two things that stood out to me right away. And then as I looked and I found that there were other electrical events that happened around the country, like the one in Louisiana, and then over in North Dakota, transformer exploding over here in the Bay Area and injuring the PG&E worker. All these things, plus the stories that I was hearing in the comments from people saying they saw something like this within that same 24-hour period, it still leads me to believe that we're not being told the entire truth about these events. These events may very well indeed be electrical, and they may very well indeed involve generators and transformers and even power plants. However, the fact that there were multiple of these occurrences within the same 24-hour period, as well as the extremely long duration and intensity of the New York City blue light, I still come to the conclusion that something isn't quite right and that the story that we're given by the mainstream media just doesn't add up. And one of the most compelling pieces of evidence I found, or lack of evidence, I should say, is I could not find any evidence of any damage from the New York City transformer explosion. I figured something of that size and caliber that would cause that much light to be emitted, there should definitely be some visible damage that we should be able to see. And I wasn't able to find any video of the damage or the aftermath in New York City. I did, however, find some videos which seem to show a lack of damage. And I want to thank my subscribers for sending me these videos.
That plant in northern Queens, Astoria. We can see 20th Avenue there that runs across the main portion, the main entrance of the facility. There are still closures in the area. We see a lot of flashing lights in the facility, but no obvious sign of an explosion. The one thing we do see is down here with all the cables and the structures, we do see several Con Ed workers walking through the area here at the Con Ed plant in northern Queens, Astoria. We can see 20th Avenue there that runs across the main portion, the main entrance of the facility. There are still closures in the area. We see a lot of flashing lights in the facility, but no obvious sign of an explosion.
Now here's a video I found from a guy who lived a block away from the Con Edison plant, and he decided to go out the very next day. This video is on December 28th, the very next day after the blue lights were seen in New York City. This guy right here took his 4K camera out and went over and walked around the entire plant looking for any damage he could find.
Alright, right now I'm coming up on the Con Edison power plant on 20th Avenue and 31st Street. Seems pretty quiet right now. From when I read the news and watched the news late last night, early this morning, they said the area of the incident was on 32nd Street, 1 block away, so I'll see what's happening. Right there, New York 1's on the scene. There's NBC4, CBS 2 News. I really hope they have it contained because there's no police caution tape around this area or anything. I did hear that Con Edison and the authorities were able to get the fire contained relatively quickly, only a few minutes after it started. Right now I don't see any burnt metal or wires or smell anything suspicious. The air smells fine. Local authorities have said the air quality is not an issue. And some benches, I'll just step onto this bench, see if we can get a better view. But it doesn't seem like anything out of the ordinary from what I can tell. Okay, now I'm coming up upon 21st Street and I walked all the way from 33rd Street and I still haven't really seen any signs of the fire or the structural damage that happened last night. And I've reached the end, 20th Avenue and Shore Boulevard. So all in all, very, very quiet morning. Not too many people here other than news crews and utility workers. And from what I could tell, All the damage was contained. There's no signs of structural damage or electrical failure from what I can see. And I'm glad no one was hurt.
Alright guys, so before we wrap up this video, I just wanted to outline for you one more time the reasons why I don't buy the official story about what happened in New York that night. First off, the intensity. It just seemed to be way too bright, way too much blue in the nighttime sky, which lit up the entire New York skyline. That just seemed like way too much power and intensity to be coming from a supposed transformer explosion. Number two, the duration. It went on for several minutes. In all the other examples I found of electrical fires, electrical explosions, they did not last nearly this long, and a lot of them ended in actual bang explosions with the sound of a pop or bang or an actual explosion, which we did not see in the New York City lights. Number three, there was coincidentally similar electrical events that happened around the country and apparently even around the world. It didn't take me long to find the electrical event that happened in Louisiana and in North Dakota, and also here in the Bay Area. Supposedly a transformer blew up and injured a PG&E worker, all within the same 24-hour period. Now some people would just say, oh, that's just coincidence, but I'm pretty skeptical of something like that happening all over the country within the same 24-hour period. That seems pretty crazy to just be coincidental. And last but not least, the lack of physical damage present at the power plant. Now, even when the mainstream media helicopter was flying over, they reported that they could not see any physical damage at the plant. And then the very next day, we have that one guy who I just showed you who walked around the entire plant, and he couldn't see any physical damage as well. So between the intensity, the duration, the coincidental other electrical events that happened around the country, and the lack of damage at the facility, leads me to believe there is something else going on here. There's more than meets the eye, and I just don't buy the official story. Once again, this has been the opinion of Jake the Asshole, and as always, please like, share, subscribe, and I will see you next time. Peace.